Hello, everybody, and welcome to a pre-season 5 release discussion for Game of Thrones. Uh, I'm starting to get a bit hyped up for it. I kind of emotionally detached myself from Game of Thrones for a while because I know it's going to take forever. And then, a couple nights ago, I was just went on a marathon watching a shit ton of clips from the show, and so now I'm getting hyped again. So. Let's talk a bit about what is coming up and what I guess maybe predictions or um, yeah, maybe character death predictions. I just kind of started this recording and just seeing how it's gonna go. I don't really have a necessary plan. I just kind of want to talk Game of Thrones, see what the interest is for the podcast viewers out there. If you guys are interested, um, I know like Walking Dead wasn't that popular among you guys, but I think Game of Thrones may appeal to you guys more, um, just based on demographic information. But let's not assume too much, but let's go into it. So let's see what happened at the end of season 4. We had Jon Snow and Ygritte got killed, and Mance Rayder got his ass whooped by Stannis, and so Stannis is at the wall with the Red Woman, uh, Melisandre. Oh, disclaimer: I do not read the books. I have heard a bit of Feast for Crows audiobook, but I stopped it because I couldn't follow it. Um, I I don't have the attention span for books anymore, and so it's not likely that I'll ever read the Ice and Fire books. Um, I do know a lot of spoilers because internet, and then I eventually went to Wikipedia and spoiled myself like for a shit ton of things just so I couldn't get spoiled anymore. But I don't know the full story, and so I can still make quite a bit of predictions here. I won't spoil anything for show show fags instead of that's what we call them. They're show fags and book cunts. Hey, I'm not the one that made up the terms. It's y'all who did that. So I'm a show fag, but I don't care. Um, the book cunts are nasty little shits though. Sometimes. Um, Regardless, so as I was saying, Melisandre and Stannis are at the wall, and Jon Snow has basically done a great service to the wall, especially by the way he handled, the fight against the wildlings. So I'm assuming he's gonna have a really high position, like a really really high position as of the beginning of the season. I know Alistair. I don't think Alistair died. I'm pretty sure he didn't, but we'll see what happens there. Um, so Stannis is there, and Stannis he wants the Iron Throne. So we're assuming that well, we know that like Essos, the Iron Bank of Bravos, they must have lent them a lot of money because Stannis came back with a giant army to destroy Mance Rayder's army, and so my guess is that next he's going after the north, simply because that's where the wall is in the north. So maybe he's going after Winterfell. So in this season we might see a Stannis versus Roose Bolton showdown in which one of them is going to probably die. I hope it's Roose Bolton because fuck that guy and fuck Walder Frey. Hopefully he dies soon enough. Let's see. So that's enough about the wall. Uh, in terms of Arya is going to Bravos, and we know that like completely. Uh, it's assumed that she's going to learn how to become a faceless person. Uh, Melisandre, when she saw Arya, she said something to the effect of like, "When I look at you, I see eyes staring back at me, green, brown, blue, eyes you'll shut forever," which is most likely an allusion to her becoming a faceless person, and so we're going to probably get Assassin's Creed um, Stark Edition. I don't know. Eventually, who knows? So there's that, and I do believe I am going to give a bit of spoilers here as far as confirmation goes. The actor who played Jaqen H'ghar was in fact confirmed for this season. So whether this is a flashback or he's going to appear, which would make no sense, but if they do it, whatever. Uh, whatever. So it's Arya. So Sansa is, she's become, I don't know, not evil, but she's sort of grown into her own sort of destiny or personality, so to speak. And it looks like Littlefinger is really just trying to use her to get control of the North. Uh, he already has the veil, so we'll see what happens with Littlefinger. Littlefinger's obviously quite the chess player, though I think Varys is probably a better chess player, even though it seems like Littlefinger has the upper hand in like earlier seasons. I feel like most of it is just according to Keikaku for uh, Varys. Translator note: Keikaku means plan. So yeah, I think Varys is probably going to do something in this one. I don't know, like, because at some point Varys is obviously going to reveal something big, and I think the trailers kind of allude to that as well. Uh, Either that or he's going to die. I mean, somebody like Varys and somebody like Littlefinger, it can only go one of two ways. Either they're going to, you know, bring out a big plan that succeeds, or they're going to die. It's not going to work both ways with them. Uh, so yeah, there's that. And in King's Landing, I guess with the Lannisters, you had Tyrion. We know he's going to Essos, uh, and we'll see about what happens from there. Some of the trailers hint at him meeting Daenerys, so we'll see about that. And Daenerys, I'm going to break the wheel. Okay, Trafalgar Law, if you can, if you're not stuck in Yunkai for another season. Jeez. I mean, her character is going nowhere at this point. I hope it goes somewhere soon, because otherwise, she'll start to get really boring. Like, I really did like Daenerys before, but now it's just sort of, we'll see. Hopefully, she becomes her old self again and actually does shit. So, anyway, there's Bran, who, Jojen got killed. Was not killed in the book, I know, because people bitched about it. And he found the three-eyed raven, saying you will never walk, but you'll fly. So what that means, don't know. We talking about dragons? Talking about crows? Who knows? Uh, we'll see. So there's that, and where else we have? I mean, we talk about King's Landing with the other Lannisters besides Tyrion. We have Cersei, who is being a bitch and is pretty much going to be left alone to rule the country because if you think about it, I mean, Tommen, he's the king, but he's very young. He doesn't really know what he's doing, and most likely um, he's being manipulated by Cersei. And most likely, um, what Margaery is trying to do by seducing him early was to pull him away from her. And so we may see some conflict between Margaery and Cersei, ooh, what a surprise. I mean, not like that wasn't foreshadowed a long time ago. Um, so there's that. I mean, Jaime is going. Isn't didn't no Jaime hadn't left yet. He hasn't left. No, he didn't leave, right? So we'll see. I no, it was no. I'm thinking of what's her name, the girl that Brienne, who left with Oathkeeper. That's what it was. I'm getting confuzzled. So yeah, Jaime, he freed Tyrion. I mean, I'm sure Cersei can probably guess, just like Tywin could guess. Rip, um, that it was Jaime who released Tyrion. There wasn't many people who really could have at that point. Not even Bronn. I mean, Bronn turned his back on Tyrion, which was sad. But I mean, it's Bronn's character, and that's who he is. So there's really there was no reason for him to fight for Tyrion at that point. Just because they were friends, that didn't it doesn't compromise his own um, ethics, I guess, if you want to call them that, of self-preservation. So there's that. I mean, I think that's really about it, right? That's about all that's happening. I mean, there's a lot, but it's all pretty simple at this point. It's all kind of broken down into um, certain sections because, Robb Stark's dead, so that's done. Um, they did not. I believe they confirmed that there's not going to be Stoneheart. Um, that's not a spoiler, of course, for show-only watchers, because if it never appears, you have no idea what I mean when I say Stoneheart. Uh, so, if Stoneheart never appears, there's gonna have to be um, some kind of replacement. Where I think they've done that before, and it seems like there's gonna be a lot of replacements, especially in Essos. Uh, so we'll see what happens there. Um, from what I know, in A Feast for Crows, there was a lot to do with the Greyjoys in the very beginning. Um, they kind of delved into that, into the Ironborn um, mythos, I guess you could say, or lore, with the whole drowning god thing. Ugh, that's awful. Um, so I don't know if they're gonna delve into that. Obviously, that's not really much of a spoiler either. That's just saying they're going to delve into more of their history. It's like, okay, I mean, I'm not telling you what their history is, and we already know that about the drowned god because of Tyrion's statement. The drowned god wants people drowned. Why are all the gods such vicious cunts? That whole thing. Um, so I'm looking forward to the season, of course, and we'll see what happens. How much they keep from the books, because obviously they've been changing a lot, which is fine. My stance on it is the show is the show, the books are the books, which is exactly the stance that George R. R. Martin himself has taken. And so if he takes that stance, I take it as well because it's true. Like people say, they ruin the books. Well, no, the books have not changed because of the show. The show is its own entity based on the books. It's not the books. Um, Granted, I understand the plight of those who want to see every little detail in the books animated and brought to life. Not animated in the sense of drawing, but I mean the adjective for animated, meaning living. Um, anyway, I do understand that plight, but at the same time, you do have to judge a show by an adapted show by two standards. You judge it based on an adaptation, and you judge it based on its own standalone standalone work. And as a standalone work, Game of Thrones really delivers. As an adapted work, it's obviously not as good as book readers would have liked. Obviously, because they've been complaining over even the most basic of things like changing um, only cat to your sister. It's the same fucking thing, guys. Really, it's the same fucking thing. Who cares if it had a slightly better ring to it? Oh, just stop. I mean, it was still the same thing. Uh, Littlefinger still pushed Lysa Arryn out the moon door. Get over it. The rape scene wasn't that much different from the books. There was quite a bit of um, there was quite a bit of wording in the books because I read the passage um, because people were debating it, and it was quite clearly um, describing a rape scene. Though George R. R. Martin did say it was different from the books, I, so I'm guessing his intent was not necessarily towards rape, but at the same time, you can't like you can't sit there and explain yourself to every single reader, and so the reader's interpretation is correct. That's something you learn in journalism. That's something you learn in writing in general. Is that the reader's interpretation is correct, and what that means is it's not that they're necessarily right, but you're not there to explain when they read it, and so if you can't convey the message appropriately to the majority of your audience that it wasn't rape, then either either it's not good writing or you just I don't know turned your back on it. I don't know, turn your back on the wording afterwards after the fact. So that's what I have to say about that scene. Um, but I kind of rambled. So that's gonna be it, um, guys. So the first episode, I believe, is the 17th, which is I don't know. Let me look at calendar. Uh, it is whenever this calendar decides to load up. Digital calendar. I don't feel like doing the basic math in my head, right? It is a Friday, and so I'm actually digging that because I have more time to do things on the weekend. Anyway, so you guys should see the first one. I'll probably do what I did with Fate Stay Night and Shokugeki Anime and upload it as soon as I'm done with it because I want to get it out there, and then afterwards I'll probably release it with the Monday releases. We'll see. So thanks guys for watching this long-winded discussion, but I hope you guys are stoked. I mean, I'm not stoked, but you know, obviously I'm happy that it's back, and I'm excited on some level. I want to see it come back. I'm a fan of the show, even though I do kind of find it overrated. Well, I don't. The show's not overrated anymore, but the series kind of is. I don't know. Sort of. Don't judge me.